Hello everyone and welcome to the Deep Blue Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deep Blue Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 285. Today is Sunday, August 4th, 2019, and I'm glad you could join me today. I may be interrupted, and this episode may be full of chopped up bits, but I figured I could record in a little bit of spare time, and it's probably going to be a long one. Whatever. So, this is very likely the last episode that I will be having from this spot. There will be a new spot. It shall be exciting. So, I don't know. We'll see what way it goes. But I'm pretty sure this chair is going to be gone. And quite a lot has happened since we last spoke, so. Closing is Wednesday. We have to be out, whatever. We said that we'd be out by the 16th. That's when my Airbnb starts. Who knows what else is going on? Whatever. Such is life. And would it be? I have had a nice, juicy, long vacation. Yarn and fiber have been bought. What would it be? SSK, all of that fun stuff. So, quite a lot to go through. And the knitting room is pretty sparse right now. I just pulled stuff out that wasn't necessary. So, I'll start with works in progress, because that is slightly closer at hand. So, I just have one right now. Isn't that weird? I think part of this has been that I haven't had the brain space to cast something new on. But this is my vitamin D. I'm knitting it out of Claudia Handpaid's Contemplation Lace in the Lone Star colorway. There we go. I knew it was something Texasy. And I have a sleeve done. So you can see the sleeve is pooling, but this green pool is on the inside of my arm, so I'm not too worried about it. And then I did have a knit-re-knit situation, and that was just because I didn't grab the right needle size for doing the garter, and then it flared out, and then it was awkward. So I made the sleeve a little bit longer than the pattern indicated, but I have half a skein more than the pattern indicated, so I think we're going to be doing okay. Yeah, and so now I'm cruising on the second sleeve. I ended up rewinding my ball, because it was it was disintegrating on me. But it still seems like I have oodles of yarn left, so once I get the sleeve done, I think that technically speaking represents like a halfway point. Whatever. So Heidi Kermeyer, the dimensions in metric are throwing me a little bit, but it's not like it's the end of the world. As you do. So, not too crazy. I think it's going to be a really nice sweater when it is complete. So, there's that. We'll see how many cups of coffee this takes. I definitely spilled coffee on me this morning, so I was like, drrr. Next up is my finished object. There's a lot of stuff on the table next to me. After I'm done recording, I'm putting the table aside to be packed, so details. So, I have finished my Inara wrap. I finished this the Sunday of SSK. I was weaving in the end, so this is the end I started on. And it's all blocked and beautified. And here's the end I finished on. So it's a little bit wobbly. This end may curl, and that's the way the pattern was written. There isn't necessarily a graceful way of putting a chunk of garter on the end, so whatever. I suppose I could have just knit like a nice wide band of the other stuff, but whatever. We'll make it work. This was quite a bit of yardage for Stash Dash. Oh, I forgot to count some things. Whatever. Let's see if that's readily accessible. To my favorites. To my Stash Dash thing. There's my Stash Chefs thing. So the Inara wrap gave me 1,192.83 meters, which brought me to 7,605.77. Just to be quantitative. So I have made 7K. I don't know how much further I'm gonna make, but let it be. There's not too much more time left, so there's 20 days. I don't know whether or not I can finish my sweater in 20 days with all of the other stuff going on around me, but it is complete. So I did do one modification to the pattern. So because I was alternating between solid and colored blocks, I added a color, or I added a third pair of rows to, or what is it? So this color right on the very edge, I added that to the pattern to separate it out a little bit better, so that in the neutral blocks you could tell when the neutral block ended and the color block began. So this is knit out of Canon Hand Dyes Naked Bruce, which is the brown color, and then Leo Merino Cashmere Silk, which is super nice. And I got, I think, the peacock gradient, but it wasn't labeled, so who knows. And it's beast. Like, we're talking 3.5 skein sort of magnitude project. So if I put it so it's like 11.3 feet tip to tip, because I used an 8x8 grid of blocking boards to block this. And I got the ends, and then I just didn't care anymore. So I just sort of mooshed until things were straightish, and I think it was good enough for that. So everything is nice and open, and I'm glad. So, yay, big project off the needles. Glad about that. We'll just put that there. I think I was planning on changing my shirt before I started. Oh, well, whatever. So, those be the whips. I do have a finished skein to show you guys. So this was very hard fought. So I think right before I was done recording, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wind this off the bobbin, and it turned out that I had somehow tied a knot onto my bobbin in the course of plying. Probably from transporting the wheel from the local yarn shop back home. I think a knot got tied on the bobbin, so I couldn't get it to move. And then I did something really stupid. I removed the end of the bobbin and took the yarn off, and I created at least 3 orders of magnitude more knots by doing this. And it broke the yarn several times, and I should have just broke the yarn and found any way possible of avoiding that eventuality. So this is what we got. Good thing I have my little Stash Chefs thing up, because would have been screwed otherwise. So this was the mediums from my latest color of fleece that I turned into a dark navy. And these are, what would it be? This is probably a little bit more purpley green than what the final yarn will turn out to be, but it didn't, like, there was a little bit of like pink dye transfer onto my hands when I've been working with it, but then nothing came out on the wash, so I don't know what's going on. So I ended up getting 357.53 meters, which based upon the Stash Dash rules meant that this counted for 1,072.59 meters, which means I'm at 8,678.36 so far, and I still have a few more things to count. So this is two-plied against itself. It is very magical color, and it is showing as a fairly magical color far away. Maybe not so close, but whatever. So there's definitely sort of this violet thing going on here, which I think is really cool. So, and sometimes the CCD just isn't gonna do violet justice, so just have to accept that. Violets and lilacs and whatever. Feel bad for the purple lovers podcasting because it just never looks the same. So I untangled it like the person sitting near me on the airplane was like, wow, you're like really dedicated. It was like, if it wasn't for the stash yardage, I may have abandoned it. So that wasn't too crazy, but it certainly took a lot of time. But it is done and will be put in with the rest of the stash. Whatever, the stash in exile, because there's no way I'm making it to the stash now. Another project. That I was working on was actually a sample for my sweater spin, and it's a little bit missing, so we'll look for it briefly. I'm just going to cut that searching out because that took a while. So this is a hackle waist from, this one would be the hackle waist from my first part, or whatever, my darkest part of the fleece. It was very frustrating to spin because it was about 1.5 inches long. I tried working on SSK and I would just get angry and throw it across the table. Because, like, I was trying to be a good listener. Now, I managed to finish this at my husband's family reunion because they are all very engineering, whatever, technically curious people, and so they were all very fascinated. So I could just sort of, like, focus on spinning while I was sort of explaining how the wheel worked, because I had my wheel lit the entire time. So, I have 2 more left to spin, but I'm at an impasse at the moment, which I'll show you briefly. So I have the purples from my medium color section, and then I have my Midnighty Bluey Purple, which is just a single one in this case. Let's go. And this will probably be good focus spinning for when the time's right. So, and then I'm going to sample having these applied together and having them be applied separately, so I can figure out what my game plan is for the sweater. I think I want it to be a marl, but I want to test what the actual colors are going to be. So, why can't I spin right now? I finished another thing on the go, so I finished spinning the Rolex. So this is a project that I ended up finishing up while I was staying with my mom. So these are my camel silk and Kiviot Rolex. So the fiber is very nice and soft, and I'm currently applying it with a silk thread, so you can see how the fiber is looking a little bit darker than that. And the plan is to eventually dye the fiber after I'm done making it into yarn, because while this dusty rose may make some people excited, it doesn't make me excited, and this Kiviot's staying with me. So it's looking like the odds are really good that I will have enough yardage to make a pretty thing, so you need about 150 yards for that. So in that regard, I'm good. But I ran out of the silk thread yesterday while I was applying, and I haven't yet had a chance to visit a different Joann's to buy more. I went to the original Joann's and they were still out of color white, or the color white, color 800. So they haven't ordered more. It didn't seem like they were going to order any more soon, so it's okay. So unless I want to put a break in the yarn, it's just going to look on the wheel for a little bit. And hopefully I can find some time to go to Joann's and grab some. Probably in sort of that awkward zone. Or as I'm like traveling from work to home or something like that. So something where I'm already out and about. But I believe that those are all the active projects. I still have my Tour de Fleece fiber. I was thinking I was going to start it, and then I decided that I should spend the other stuff, so the Bosworth and the fiber are all just still crammed into the bag, so that's okay. At some point it will get its day in the sun, but not right now. I didn't even start that project. I brought yarn for it to start 3 different projects. I've started no new projects, whatever. At some point I'll get around to starting. I'm pretty sure I'm going to start the dragons, so I got the yarn wound at SSK, so okay. I decided to not start the Viajante. And then in terms of future knitting, I did get a call from my grandpa. It must have been Thursday night. He has destroyed one of his pairs of socks, which, as far as knitworthy goes, he is the most knitworthy person I know. He wears my knitting every day. So he made a request for more socks. So he would very much like to receive some more. So I don't know what yarn I would want to use for that, because almost all my set is packed up. I know that's pretty tough stuff. So we'll have to figure something out. Oh, such a life. So he may have just jumped my cousin for the Viajante. Whatever. So I think we've made it into the SSK portion of the show. No one has interrupted me, so no one has discovered that I'm not there. So we'll hop right into it. So I ended up going to the 8th Super Summer Knit Together. It is a retreat hosted by Leslie and Laura of the Knit Girls, and I put my name in the hat every year because I can combine it with a trip to see my parents. And that's what I ended up doing this year. I didn't have enough vacation to combine the trip with my parents, but I don't care. I needed lots of naps. What it be? In some ways, it's like, it's funny because there are definitely situations where it was like, oh man, I'm so tired, and then after I got my room, which it turned out that I was in a different hall this year, and those rooms are way smaller. There is no way I could have stashed someone in my room this year. Is like, I got there, I put all my crap there, I laid down for maybe like half an hour, until like I'd finally like cooled off from the tremendous heat and humidity, which is Nashville. And then like I felt bad because I wanted to be around everybody. So it's very interesting being an introvert and wanting to be around everyone, but then like not wanting to be around people. But I did have a great time. I met a whole bunch of really great people. I got to have like great conversations. I didn't get oodles of knitting done. I mostly worked on my shawl. The sweater just sort of stayed where I was for most of the trip, which is fine. I didn't end up starting too much new. I did do a little bit of spinning though, which I haven't even showed you, so slightly out of order, but whatever. I still need to count the yardage for it, so there's that. What was it? I ended up taking 2 classes. One of the classes was Twist with Maggie Casey, which I found to be very interesting. It was very much so about how to adjust your wheel to change how much twist you're getting, beyond the obvious one of changing your ratio. So that was very, very interesting, very enlightening. I'm not sure. We ran some experiments where I got the opposite result. And I think part of that just has to do with, what would it be? Part of that just has to do with how I normally set up my wheel. I tend to set up my wheel for the absolute minimum amount of take-up possible, which apparently also translates to the most twist possible. And so when I was trying to set up my wheel to take up even less, it was like, it's not working. What was it? But such is life. So, it was an enjoyable class. I know, I always pick up something new every spinning class. So I found it, what would it be? I just find it interesting how that ends up working out. So, at some point I may need to stop to just shuffle everything closer, but we'll get through what's close by. So I have my different samples. I'm definitely really loving how this over the fold ended up turning out, and I ended up spinning the rest of my samples that way as well. But it was the case where I wrote down on my card if it was the opposite of the intended effect, and all of this is mixed BFL, so that also helps in identifying what sort of twist you're putting in, because the fiber is naturally sort of marled. So that was pretty cool. And I did make some really fine yarn with that lacing the flyer technique. And so here were some of the plied yarn that I ended up creating that I need to count up for Stash Dash. And here was the rest of the sample that I ended up doing over the fold, and so it turned out really gorgeous. I was very excited. So that was a very enjoyable little spin there, so I should have pretty good yardage on this. I bet it's at least 2 ounces of fiber on there. But I haven't counted it yet, so hopefully I can count it soon. The other class I took was with Tanis Gray, and it was about designing your own colorwork cowl. And I spent most of the time sort of coming up with this paisley chart. But now that I'm like home, I think what I want to do is to take that unit cell and play around a little bit more with how I would end up creating sort of that paisley, maybe more of a traditional sort of paisley setup, because what I was doing was copying. I had my bag with me that had originally had this project, and there's like paisley and birds and that sort of thing. So I spent a decent amount of class trying to figure out how to, in squares, create a paisley shape, and then sort of making it enjoyable color work by making sure the floats weren't too long and that sort of thing. We did learn a really cool way of picking up our long floats on, what would it be? So picking up from below instead of above, which was pretty cool. So you just leave it long on the row 1 and then pull it up as you're going by the second pass. So I thought that was cool. So it'd be the case where I will eventually make this chart, but while moving house is not going to be the time. But it was very therapeutic to color that much, I must admit. So I'm going to do a quick rejigger, so everything is closer by, and then I will go through what I ended up purchasing. So this was the inspiration for little paisleys, and then this was the paisley chart that I had put together. So you can definitely see the paisleys going on, and the ones that are colored blue are actually correct. I got a pen to a class where I really needed a pencil. But I think even though I sort of like this interlocking paisley pattern and could do something with filling in sort of these smaller ones and these bigger diamonds with some other geometric element, I think I want to try having it be more of a traditional, where you have paisley like next to each other instead of nesting like that. I don't know, it could be fun, but we shall see. So, okay. I guess I can start with some of the goodie bag stuff, because at this point I feel like I'm the last person who's talking about it. But we had a super duper cute shirt theme this year. So this is sort of a dark gray shirt, and then it has this neon goat with yarn skeins coming, rainbow yarn skeins coming out of its butt. So very cute. I haven't, and then it was a case where it's a little bit of 8-bit art to go with the 8-year theme. We also had this really great goodie bag, so it also has a black and white version of the same little logo, and then it also has an over shoulder strap. So this bag is very, very nice, good size pockets, all that stuff. And I was counting on it in order to carry all my stuff back, so that was good. We also got some wooden sock blockers that are actually adjustable size, but those are a little bit ungainly to work with because I need to thread the pieces together. Up, and we have reached a pause. Okay. I don't even know what happened. It is many hours later now, so I no longer have a chair in this room. It's extremely comical. Oh, but I will, I think I left off at stash positions. It seems plausible. I don't think I started. It's all here, so the table's still here. It's folding. It'll fit in many places. So one of the things I ended up getting was they did actually have a Lindrum Anchorworks bobbin in blue. So that was something that was on my list of things. So I was excited to get a set. Whatever. I'll do it later. And the other thing that I ended up getting was the butterfly Kate and the yarn caddy. So this is the butterfly Kate. So you pull out the legs here. You can tilt this into a variety of positions and go from there. So there are a couple of different places that it slots into. So you end up having what would be a nice portable way of keeping a bobbin in control. So, and it is rather nice. You can also use it to hold a pattern with the notches there. So there are a lot of things you can play around with this guy. So excited about that. And then everything folds back down and fits together really nicely there. So, but then it also came with all of the stuff for this. So this is the yarn caddy thing. So it's the case where you have this, which is the bottom, and then you have this shaft here, and so you can use it as a way of having a easily rotating cake of yarn. So should be fun. It was sort of the case where that ended up being my first purchase in the market. I think I left off going through the goodie bag, but whatever, such is life. Something that was in the goodie bag was this fiber. So this is specially processed, so the the colorway name is Escape, and it was done by the Two Guys Yarn Company. So it is a roving that is approximately 4 ounces, and it is 55% purple, violet, and black romney, 10% nylon, 15% banana, which is apparently the pink, and then 20% south down. And I guess I'll be right back. So, and what was it? And then the last thing was 20% south down, which was the gray color in this. So, not too crazy. Purple, violet, and black. So, should be fun. And I actually have 2 of these, so should be able to make a pretty good sized thing with it. So it does look very lovely. A very interesting blend. So should be good. There's definitely very much so watercolors. This is on top. So every year they do the, or what is it? Every year as a part of SSK, they have the try-it-on room and the tasting room. And so I ended up taking part in both. So I brought many sweaters for people to try on, and I tried on many sweaters myself. And that was actually, they moved what day the try-it-on room was on, so it was the case where it got swapped. So in the past it's been on Friday, this year it was on Thursday, which was nice because then that helped me make decisions for Friday, which was good. Then on Friday, they had the drum carters out. So on this half, I have some very lovely looking fleece on the bottom, and then I have sort of shades of blue and gray throughout, and then I topped it with some pink. Though there was probably a cleverer way to add the pink than what I ended up doing. And a very small amount of sparkle, probably. So I'm not quite sure how heavy this guy is. I went with the fleece because the colored fiber they had didn't seem to be the highest quality, but I figured it's gonna spin up fun. So blues and grays, and then just a little bit of crazy pink in there too. Should be fun. Let's see. But I was talking a little bit about sweaters, so I ended up getting yarn for 3 different sweaters that I thought looked really nice in the try-it-on room. Had this been earlier in the day, I could show you pictures of me wearing them, but alas. I posted on Instagram somewhere. So I ended up going to House of Yarn. The ribbon was a part of the bat. Looking for a weekender. And specifically what I was looking for was something that would like marl nicely. So it's the case where Amy Florence has her very pretty 2 different shades of gray marl weekender. And then Jen, who's Cthulhu Loves Me, had this really cool idea where she had the shoulders a different color, the shoulders and cuffs and details and that sort of thing in a different color than the main body. So what I'm thinking is that the blue and white marled together will be the body, and the blue and black marled together will be all of the accents. So, and based sort of on the yarn usage, I should be good to go for that. I have, way more of these guys. So should be fun. So this is Isager Bomulin, and it is a 65% cotton, 35% linen. And it should be really nice. So this will result in something that's maybe a little bit more drapey, but I'm okay with that. And this may actually become a cast on soon because while I'm in Texas and while it is hot, it kind of sort of makes sense to be working with the linen and cotton blends and that sort of thing. So another sweater that turned out to look super cute, and perhaps this isn't a surprise, is the swag. So I know, I love a good yoke, and I got to try on a couple of versions of swag in the try it on room. It's like, yeah, no, I should knit myself one. So I was drawn to this one in the Miss Babs booth, and this is a Yummy 2-ply, which is 100% superwash merino. And then I also, it was a case where I called over one of the people in the booth and was like, hey, like, I know that this is the one, what should be my second one? And it was a case where she's like, hold on to this one and put it next to each other, drop it, pick up a different one. And she picked up this one, and I was actually really surprised with how cute it ended up looking, so I decided to go with it. So the purple is going to be the body and the texture. And she actually ended up helping me out too, because it was the case where, oh, what was it? One of the skeins was not like the others, and she went and grabbed a different one. So this guy is Spread Your Wings, and this one is Japanese Maple. So I think that's going to look really nice and be a very good fingering weight sweater. But that wasn't all that I got in the Miss Babs booth. I also picked up a skein of Cataton, and this would be for a Vera Valimaki pattern called Flare. So I tried on one that was not the right size, and it's always really nice when you try on a sweater that's the wrong size and it still looks really, really good. So you're like, okay, this, like, Vera knows how to fit a pattern and grade a pattern so it looks good on all body sizes. And so I've gone this colorway before. This is Moonlight Stroll. But the one I tried on was out of one of the Miss Babs Zombie Cataton colors, and I was like, oh man, this pattern just eat it up. So so this is sort of has the teals, blacks, grays, greens, like, what would it be? So it's not entirely blue, but I think it'll look very nice. So I was like hemming and hawing a little bit, and then I just decided to go for it. So those are the 3 sweater quantities. I did end up winning a door prize, which was exciting. So this is a skein in String Theory Colorworks, and I just make sure to put it in for all of Caitlin's yarn, because it's a lot of fun. And it even included a little stitch marker, because that's one of her new obsessions. And so this is 400 yards, 300 grams, and it is 80% superwash BFL, 20% nylon, and it is the Star Effect. So it's fuchsia, fluorescent orange, fluorescent yellow, radioactive aqua, intense iris, and then 3 rose black. So not too crazy. Should be fun. Made in the place where twist whatever where zip ties go to die. So Caitlin and her husband are in Florida now, but they were in my knitting group in Albuquerque, so lovely to get something from a friend. So yay. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about SSK wise was I ended up getting some Spotted Circus alpaca. So this is alpaca and Starbright nylon. Unfortunately it doesn't have the percentages on it, but it is totally molly colors, sort of the blues, purples, and greens. So should be fun to work with and interesting. I picked one of the bags that had a little bit more variation in the dye intensity, so hopefully that'll be a lot of fun to spin. So that'll be fun because it seems like it's very cool. So should be good. I have to laugh a little bit because my mother-in-law like never mails anything. So she ended up giving me this procrastinating bag, which is from Joann's, and then she has a little lantern sheepy And then a chicken boots washi tape in a knitting pattern. And then actually a pair of shawl pins as well. So every year she intends to give me my birthday present in March, and I get it in July. So I have, I don't know, what are these? So there's a little ragline name tag, and then these two pins. So this one has a little not flat section, and then this guy should just slide and slot in, so not too shabby. So everything else is just repeats. So what was it? So it was quite a lot of fun. What would it be? It's hard to have a bad time. It's definitely tiring, but definitely a good time. What was it? I definitely appreciated the vacation I had beforehand, but I think I'm now wiped clean now. I'm just done. It's been a long day. So yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to show. Like, I have like the market bag and some tags, but they're for rolling. So we'll have to laugh about the fact that the chair got moved in the middle, but such is life. I didn't want to go yet another week without an episode, and we'll see whether or not there will be an episode next week. I definitely feel good about saying there will be one on the 17th or 18th, but definitely whatever in my new Airbnb. So it's okay. Yeah. So we'll see whether or not I can record next week, but it just seems like an awful lot it's left to be done. So it started slow, but it's going fast now. So what would it be? Sometimes you just have to like get rolling, and then it just goes in a big whoosh, and now it's just like out of control. So whatever, such is life. What was it? Like, definitely pulled the box springs out from under the bed. I emptied my dresser. I put all of my knitting into my little blue carry-on suitcase. Well, not all of it. There was one thing that didn't make it. And the socks. The socks are, I don't know, I'm gonna have to clean the bed off. So it'll be fine. And we'll see what other side I get to see you guys on, but whatever. So I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon. So take care, guys. Bye-bye.